let's see. What do we do now? I figured, since I finished Zoe, let's do a quick little. Oh god, that's not good. Let's do a quick little tier lists. Two things. I wanted to summarize for everybody that wasn't here the whole time, wasn't following the whole time, what it was like to run these adventures and how they went. So I figured I'd summarize two different things. The first one that we'll start with is how my runs went, and then after that, we'll look into a general tier list of power for this adventure. Uh, so without ado, let's go ahead and begin here. I won't be able to see chat. That's not good. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, cool, that worked. Okay, now I can keep seeing chat. All right. Oh god, that's stream on stream. Ew, ugly. Okay. All right. I've already gone ahead and put all the people that didn't have a constellation here because I didn't do them. If you are welcome to do them, I will not stop you from doing them. Feel free. That's up to you, man. You could do that. But I'll mostly talk about the ones I did. Aatrox. Aatrox was hard for me. It took me a couple tries. I'm not familiar with the Darkins, and knowing which ones to play and how to play them and how to do everything perfectly and the little techs you can do with them, there's a lot of surprise nuance to Aatrox, but I couldn't pull them off. So I ended up just gonna get rid of this ad. I do. Oh, perfect. Let's go. Oh no, wait, that didn't do it, did it? Yes, it did. Cool. Let's see if I can do that. I'll have to do. We'll kind of move it a little. There we go. I just didn't want to have an ad on the screen the whole time, you know. All right, Aatrox was rough. Definitely don't recommend it, but you know you got to do it. What you got to do. Ahri, super easy. Her gameplay style is all about ignoring what the enemy does and just killing their Nexus anyway. So I would highly recommend her. She's nearly best in region, if not best in region, for this reason. Uh, yeah, Akshan. I did Akshan in a single try, and I would say it was pretty easy time. Didn't really struggle with him. The ability to play a bunch of cards and just go infinite really helps in this adventure, and you have a lot of time to draft for that. So this was an easy time for me. Ambessa, super easy and super fun. So her 6-star is super good in this adventure. A lot of adventure battles in here have that one big unit, and Ambessa just gets rid of it. So having the option to get rid of it and potentially get rid of 2, maybe 3 units in one turn between the midnight raids and the rallies, super helpful. And so like they played Catastrophe and I didn't care because I killed it immediately. So this one was great. Nivea, sadly, goes in the pain tier. I believe it took me 4 or 5 tries with a Nivea, and I was losing my sanity. Not because I was just bricking. I was bricking a Nivea in the first third of the adventure, where she is unequivocally at her weakest. And once you get going through the adventure, you start kind of steamrolling things because you start having more and more elemental stuff that really helps. But I wasn't able to find it. It took me 5 runs or something like that, 4 or 5 runs, until I got Kennen as my support, and then everything went smooth after that. I finally had an elemental skill, had an elemental champion, everything kind of went through, and ultimately it did work. If you draft an elemental champion, Nivea's great. If you don't, she suffers a little bit until she gets running, and then she is super strong late game, but late game is not always available. Annie is also in the pain tier. I could not make her work. A lot of the relics that I'm seeing people use when they're clearing with her are like Steering Brilliance or Deck of Destiny or Emotional Support Bear, or I even saw was it Zorix Drakehounds. I didn't have anything like that, so until I got Whirling Blade, I was working with scraps, and like what I had was just not cutting it. Annie was arguably the hardest champion for me. until I got Whirling Blade. And then it was a one and done. So if you have Whirling Blade and Echoing Spirit, she's really easy, but until then, that was really rough. Ashe. I mean, it's Ashe. There's people putting on Defiance here just to buff the enemy units so they can one-shot the Nexus faster. Ashe is super easy in this, and she's like Ahri. You ignore what the enemy does, and then say, "Oh, I got 4 mana and a third of your Nexus and power. I win." Triple Gatebreaker. Aurelion Soul. This shouldn't even be a shock. In fact, I'm going to put him higher up in there. We're going to move Akshan down because he wasn't super easy, but he was still easy. Easy time. Like, just play big units, play a bunch of champions, one-shot the enemy, get a bunch of stuff. It's great. He was super powerful. And so I didn't struggle with him at all, and most people won't either. Azir, also a one and done, and I'd probably put him here. I high rolled super hard, but it wasn't like super crazy. Like, I'm not going to put him in the variant gameplay group. But he play a bunch of champions and massively attack. I used Fear Cleaving Axe and Double Star Gem, so I could play a ton of the Shreeman champions, and then that really just kind of escalated everything from there. So that all went great. Maybe I should. Caitlyn. Caitlyn was actually, for me, I believe if she was medium. It was either, it might have been a single one and done for me, actually, but I'm putting her in the medium just because I know that's not always reliable with her. And so it's gonna, yeah, she went all right, and it was not like super easy. I don't remember like blasting through it, but I actually did her in like my first 20 or 30 clears, so she was pretty reasonable with that. Darius. I was expecting Darius to be very rough, and he was in the easy tier. There's a reason that when you see his 2-star power in this adventure, you just take it. It's an amazing power. Having the ability to attack twice makes so much difference here. So Darius went super smooth. I didn't struggle at all with him. And if it took me 2 tries, I don't even remember the first. I think it took me 1 and done. Echo. I've talked about him on the stream already. Echo was super easy. Having the ability to get big units, very helpful. Having the ability to draw a ton of cards, super helpful. And what I drafted with Fiddlestick support was insane. Like, this was just a pretty easy run. My Elder Dragon, I believe, was also a one and done. Not hard at all. This one was very easy. You just draft a 6-cost champion. My support was actually Darius, a super Darius with double attack, and then I just kind of wailed on people with him. It was great. Go for it. If you see it, if you're Elder Dragon, take a 6-cost champion, because if you have Starforged Gauntlets, they go down to 4 cost. You can play them on turn 1, get 4 souls, play Elder Dragon turn 2, massive swings. Elise. I mean, you bum rush the enemy, you kill the Nexus on the first turn. The only time I wasn't killing on the first turn was pretty much like the very, very ends of the adventure where the units suddenly get a little wild. But even then, it was not a problem. She was fine. Evelynn, I'm going to put her into medium. And the only reason I'm saying that is you do need to make sure you get a chance to play Evelynn. If you don't play Evelynn, you don't level. Echoing Spirit helps a lot with that, but then you also need to have a husk. So it was actually, you know what? This is how my runs went. My runs were kind of easy. I did actually manage to get through it without much problem. Fiddlesticks. My first run with Fiddlesticks was bad because I didn't have perfection, and then my second run was really easy because I did have perfection. So I'll put him in medium as a yes. I got one of the best powers possible. So yeah, that worked out well. Gwen took 1 clear. We've talked about her already. Heimerdinger took 1 clear. Talked about him already too. For both of them, just stick to their game plan. I got them great powers, great support. Everything worked out. Made it all happen. Alawi, one and done. No problem with her whatsoever. Uh, I got some fun little powers and supports for her, but the big thing was real good items in Alawi, because if you're not playing Alawi, you're probably Alawi. Jace is in pain tier. It took me so many tries to finally get the right combination of good 6-cost spells and the ability to survive long enough to play them. Once I hit that combination, the run was easy, but it took me several tries to try to get through that. That one was rough. It took me good number of tries. Jhin took me 3 or 4 tries, which is not characteristic of Jhin. Most people will say that Jin's usually like really strong and he's one of the stronger controllers. I just couldn't make him work. It took me a lot of tries to actually get through this with him. So unfortunately, I had him in the hard tier. I know he's stronger than what I am showing here, but my lack of proficiency with him was really showing. And I think that's going to be what a lot of like this lower tier on this list is, like this hard and pain group is going to be. I'm not as familiar with the champion, and I'm not going to play their way, and I don't know all the nuances to play perfectly. Or in Anivia's case, I didn't get draft lucky. But like those kind of come into play. You know, sometimes you got to get used to a champion, and this adventure forces that. Jinx took me 1 or 2 tries. It was either way. Got through it pretty quickly. Didn't run into any issues with her, even though people might now. This was before the Guardian Angel nerf, so that was a little helpful for me, because then I could just kill my Jinx and do the reset thing. Now you need Deathless and like a way to get Deathless back, unfortunately. So it might be harder now. So yeah. Kai'Sa, super easy, 1 and done. Just draft strong keywords, use her 6-star, blast the enemy down. She becomes an amazing blitzer at 6-star, and that really works well here. Kayle, I'll put her in the medium tier, because it wasn't easy, but I did manage to kind of pull it off. I think I had Renekton as my support in the run that worked. Kayle eventually can do good. She just is. She scales. She needs to scale a little bit, and that's a little dangerous in this adventure. If I had her epic relic, it would be funny, because I did some counting just today thinking about it, and near the end of the adventure, you'd have like 20 power Kayle on turn 1 if you could play her. So that's a little wild. Leona took me 3 to 4 tries, but my final run went super well. So Leona does do well when you can get the thrice bound power. If you were going for this run, I would consider resetting for thrice bound. That went so well to have Ravoon Daylight Spear out on turn 1 that it just escalated everything perfectly. Once I hit that, it was super nice, but since it took me a few runs to hit that, I'm putting it into the hard tier. Lilia, no problem at all. Just smack the enemy. Do all kinds of wild crap with Guardian's Orb, Stalker's Blade, whatever your poison is. It's wonderful. Lux took me 1 or 2 tries and wasn't difficult. She is one of the people that can run Arcane Comet super well, and unlike Jace, does not require epic high rolls to do what she has to do. So it went super well to just blast the enemy with a whole bunch of spells. Lux Illuminated, I'll put her in medium, but that's because I was stupid. My first run, I decided to try to get rid of all my 1 and 2 costs so I could always draft the Lumina Sprite, and then I ended up bricking myself too hard. So the second run, I went and did the opposite, got rid of my 4 or 5s and some of my 3s, and all of a sudden, wow, hey, the champion themed around blasting people with a bunch of units and support units worked. Who would have thought? Mel, I cheated. So she is the first person in the variant gameplay. I should explain this grouping here. The variant gameplay is where I didn't follow conventional rules or logic. So, for example, drafting an infinite, or in this case, drafting an alternate win condition. I had Rise. Rise with 6-star Mel is an incredibly good support option. It worked super well. So if you see Rise on Mel, go for it, because it became a Rise run. I had Wild Inspiration and Rise, so I was just perpetually getting all the runes. It's disgusting. All right, Misfortune. I believe it took me 2 runs with Misfortune. I'll put her at the top of medium, but I think if you follow the same strategy I did, it'd be a lot better. Go for a like spell focused Misfortune instead of a unit focused Misfortune, and you'll do well. I ended up doing I think it was Found Fortune plus a couple other things. The Found Fortune ended up being really valuable, and loaded dice just to get some strong powers. Definitely look into that. Morgana was easy. You just make the enemy not able to do anything. Then you just need to make sure that you draft a way to take care of Zoe at the end of the adventure, because if the units are there, they block you from damaging the Nexus. So you just got to make sure you draft like a Challenger, silencing, or baiting them, obliterating them, killing them some other way. You got choices. Make sure you have them. Nasus took me 2 tries, but both tries I got all the way to the end with almost no effort. Nasus is very good into these modifiers because he comes with disarmed. That's so important in this adventure. Having the ability to reduce a triple powered unit down is so impactful. And so that's why I'm putting him in the easy time, is I didn't struggle with him getting to Zoe both times. Just the first time I just couldn't close it. But the second time I did, it was not a problem whatsoever. So yeah, put him in easy. Nautilus. I think this is going to be interesting, people. I had an easy time with Nautilus. It was a one and done. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I drafted Echo as my support. It took me 2 tries. But I was able to draft Echo, and Echo is the perfect support for Nautilus. He does literally everything you need. Support, whole bunch of units, draw. Echo is amazing. Go for Echo. If you see him on Nautilus, you will not be disappointed. Neeko, I owe Neeko an apology. I thought Neeko was going to be harder than she was. Echoing Spirit plus Double Guardian's Orb was the build I used, and it was great. It gave me everything I could do. I filled the board with Neekos, and then some of them would have Rally on. If I got the Rally item on them, I'd just chain attack over and over until Pop Blossom wiped the board and they died. It's wonderful. Nora was also a one and done, and was not hard at all. Managed to not even struggle a little bit, because I got a good power of, I think it was Spellslinger. And so the Hidden Tome build, where you just kind of, an Echoing Spirit, where you just play a bunch of Nora, get your deck going, and then spam that card. If you get a portal, you summon a champion, you refill your mana, and then you just play as many portals as you can. It went super well. Nunu and Willump, I'm putting in the hard tier. It took me a good few tries to get it going. I think it was my 4th run that I finally beat it. But I wouldn't say it was pain. But it was rough. It took a good number of tries before I could finally make Nunu and Willump work. Pyke. One and done. I did not struggle with Pyke. I think a lot of people struggle with Pyke. If you're struggling with Pyke, look into Stack Deck. Stack Deck is excellent. It helps a lot of stuff. And don't forget to draft free strike, free attacks. Those are going to be so valuable for you on the turns that you don't have the attack token to secure your scaling. Definitely go for it. Samira took me 3 or 4 attempts as well. I finally managed to make it work at the end, and but it was rough. It took a good number of tries to get that going. So Samira, gonna put her in the hard, but I did manage to clear her. Set, super easy. Super easy. He works super well in this kind of adventure. Try to find some mana, get to 6 mana, and then you just pop off and do crazy crap. Shyvana managed to do her in I believe it was either 1 or 2 runs. Was not hard at all. Managed to work out through that pretty well. Definitely go for it. Death Foil is fun with Echoing Spirit on her because you can do attacks without fear and then get those free confronts to give your units those barriers. Soraka. Soraka. I could not get Soraka going. In the run that I like, if you get past like Jinx Draven with Soraka, you're going deep. You've solved all her problems at that point. But I just couldn't get past the first, like, I couldn't get past the Zerarelia a lot of times. I was struggling getting blitzed down before I could really get the healing engine scaling. And so that was a lot of the times I struggled, was that. And I like Soraka. I think Soraka is actually quite strong, but I just couldn't do it. And so, yeah, she has to go there. Every Spirit Blossom champion is going to go into the easy time tier except for one. And the reason is because they are all Giga busted. Or Spirit Blossom Kindred. Sir? She not in this list? Did I put her in this group on accident? No. Where is she? Weird. Oh, there she is. All Spirit Blossom champions are overpowered. There is no getting around this. They are just strong. And all of them took me only a single try. They all worked well. The only reason that all six of them are not in the easy time tier is because my Teemo run got weird. I got perfection 3 times and wounded prey. So what ended up happening would be if they played a unit, I would deal with more than 1 health, I would deal 10 damage to it. And like, what was that run? It was quite crazy to do that. So I would definitely say I did not have the fairest shake with Teemo because I high rolled so hard with him. But I know he would have been easy. I would have had him in the easy time if it wasn't for that. But I giga high rolled with that. Swain. I did my first attempt on Zoe completely blind with Swain, and I beat it. Not that hard. He's good for a reason. Top of the game for a reason. Yeah, he went quite well. Talia took me a few tries. I'm gonna put her in pain because you want to draft enough landmark support to level Talia quickly, but you also want to have units, and she really struggles at getting units out. So it was painful to level her up and win the game and get deep in the run. So I'm gonna put her in the pain tier, but it was a toss up between pain and hard. Oro King. It was so easy I could do it when my baby was being born. Just kidding. But jokes aside, Oro King works well. Just his 6-star. I've seen it described as you get to a free level to Poro King effectively from the get go, and that makes sense. It was really good. His 6-star is super helpful to scale, so yeah, it's great. Thresh was a one and done. He's super strong. Once you have a 6-star and you just start scaling your units massively by having your units die, so you just pump your deck to kill a bunch of units on the first turn, and then you start with 15 Thresh, and then some support champion comes out of the deck. A lot of power, so easy peasy. Yeah. Tryndamere. I have him in medium. It took me 2 or 3 tries, but mostly because I was trying to get over my own hubris. If you're the kind of person that's trying to play Tryndamere as the fish through your deck for Tryndamere with Call to Arms, you're probably going to struggle with him in this adventure. Don't do that. Play to your support champion, find something effective, and work with that. Don't try this gambling with Tryndamere thing. It's not going to. I quickly gave up on that, and then things went super smooth. Twisted Fate. I mean, I one turned Zoe. It was disgusting. Udyr, tons of power. He's actually really strong. If he wasn't competing with Ashe, I'd say he's probably best in region even at 6-star. But he's still incredibly strong. Go for him. He's gonna be good. And I had an easy time with him. Vayne was hard. It took me many tries to get Vayne to work, even with the ideal build. Just she was so fragile in the beginning. Like, you get captured, you get frostbite, you get killed outside of combat. All that can be rough. And so I just ran into issues with that. But once I did get a run to work, things went well. But I'm gonna say it was hard until then. Vex was one and done. Not even a struggle on her end. She laughed her way up the mountain, calling everyone cringe. She just slams spells. You have so many chances to get strong and OP spells on the adventure for her. Stuff like Bouncing Bomb is really good on her. It's really nice. Vi, I drafted an Infinite Vault Breaker, but I got all the way to Swain before I got the Infinite Vault Breaker. Without much issue, Rhythms of Despair is actually really good on Vi. Give it a try, guys. Rhythms of Despair Vi was really good in this adventure, and it bought me the time I needed to draft the answers to win the rest of the adventure. So, is it really bad? Quite well for me. All right, Viego. I barely even remember clearing with Viego. It was that easy. Viego is one of the best champions in the game for a reason. You can kill units, you can steal units, you draft super strong. Baby's upset. Victor, I'll put in the easy because it took me 2 tries, but the first try I was using a suboptimal build and they made things rougher for me than it had to be. Volibear took me 1 try, no problem. He's really good at killing units. Yeah, killing weak units and then using that as a springboard to summon strong units. And this adventure says, hey, would you like 2 or 3 free kills? And then Volibear goes, yes, I would. So he is incredibly well tuned for this adventure. Definitely look into him if you get a chance. Warwick. I'm going to put him in easy. It took me 2 tries. The first time I was trying Stalker's Blade and I just didn't have enough control. Swap that to Wicked Harvest and things went super smooth after that. Warwick is really good into this adventure because he gets a lot of free ticks. Yasuo was in pain. Just kidding. He was near the top. Yeah, I mean, you stun the whole board. Who would be shocked, you know? Stun the board and win. He's good at that. Yuumi, I'll put her in medium because I was tinkering around with new builds and new choices. But her ability to use Succubus Brand is super nice. Because I could actually summon Yuumi on her own instead of attaching, kill units, get big husks, start of my turn, make the husks as big as my biggest unit, and then give those stats to another unit, which just continues the cycle. And you get a really, really, really big unit. And finally, Zoe. We are putting her in hard. You got to find the right options and the right way to draft. Let's go ahead and ban this person. Oh, perfect. Ban. Nice. All right. Zoe, you got to find a way to draft the stuff you need super quick and figure out how to get there. Because without it, it was definitely a struggle. But then once that went well, things went well. So we are a little top heavy in this one because some of my runs I just got good luck, you know, things went well. But this is what I have. I guess we're bringing back the ad here. Actually, I guess we don't need to. Maybe. Yeah, we can fit everyone on the screen this way. Yeah. So this is how my Zoe runs went. It was actually quite smooth. And there were some fun runs, there were some not so fun runs, there were some weird runs. So here's for the people that like to look at the end, like, here it is. I guess my hands are pointing the wrong way. Here. There you go. This was a fun adventure for me. But yes, this is how that one worked.